I'm Rachel Greenstein here with Mark Citron. This is Frozen Futures, where we discuss the NCAA's rising stars and the future of the NHL. And we're coming right off of the action from the World Junior Challenge. We were both wrong. USA and Canada did not place. Um, Congratulations to Czechia and Sweden for being in the finals. Czechia really deserved it. They were grinding this whole tournament. Sweden kind of has a little bit of an advantage because kind of pros. Like they're not playing NCAA. They're not. They're playing in the Swedish leagues, which are really high level. So you got like Stenberg, who's just unbelievable. I think he's Gavin McKenna's biggest rival for the number one pick this year. But let's get right into it. Gavin McKenna had a great tournament. He had an absolutely great tournament, scored a hat trick, which 3 goals, but in 6 games, he had 10 points. So to him. That was a good tournament for the Penn State boy.
Uh, yeah, but
You know,
I feel like he could have. Oh, I
well,
feel
I
like
mean, I feel like everyone could have done better.
I agree. I mean, it's fine, but I think he's such a young guy, right? But he's
He's
giving me
18.
sort of Bedard vibes of I don't know. Yeah, he's so young. It's hard to
See,
say
I
because in
wouldn't
3 years that could be
really say
totally
that.
wrong.
I would say he's a lot more versatile than Bedard is. He actually
Uh,
back checks.
yeah.
He plays well
I
off the
mean,
puck,
you
and
know,
that's a big part of
you
his
know
identity.
that's my biggest. Yeah, it's my biggest thing on the show will be too. Is I don't really care how old you are, what country you play for. I like workers. That's the game. Like that's it, Rachel, and I agree with that. So I think that if you can do those habits more, leads them more goal scoring, obviously, but it's so important, right? Because you could just look at the stat line, and I'm still saying, oh, they could have had more. You're right, and that's where I go back to you, Rachel. You're right. There could be more from more of these guys, but I still doesn't have as much flash. I mean, but again, I think that just is part of the game now, where it takes 1, 2, 3 years you really kind of lift off, and that's what's we could talk about it all night, Rachel. But
Yeah.
stunning though. 3 years in a row, the Czechs beat Canada. And this was like a different. I mean, this was a team that's like gold, 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 and that's kind of the world we live in, where it's like, oh, they're gonna win. You know what? And then look what happens. It's just incredible. You got to tip the cap to him.
They absolutely deserve to be in that final. But speaking of wanting more, here was something that we had talked about the last time we had talked, and we were debating kind of between the two Michigan guys who was going to have a better tournament, Michael Hayes or William Horcroft for USA, Michael Hayes for Canada. I was right.
But you're
Michael
right.
Hayes had a much better tournament than Horcroft did. Horcroft only had 2 points in 5 games. He had a goal and an assist. Hayes had 11 points in six, 2 goals, 9 assists. One of those goals was an overtime winner against Latvia, kind of an amazing goal for him to score. He had a great tournament. Horcroft, not, I expected a lot more from him, although at the same time, I expected a lot more from USA as a whole. Um, you know, a lot of guys that we expected to produce at a high level weren't. Our buddy Max Plant, I expected a lot from him. I'm not saying he didn't have play well, but in one goal. And I think that's just say was not at the level that they should have been. But going back to Horcroft for a second,
Sure.
again, we have talked about this before, and we were going back and forth. Horcroft or Hayes. Again, that seems to be our
I don't.
for
I
Hobey
don't think
Baker.
so.
And
Oh,
I think that this tournament showed why Hayes is the better option for Hobey because Hayes has been quarterbacking
mm,
everything. He's the quarterback of every single play for Michigan. Horkoff is benefiting from it. He's making a lot of plays, getting a lot of assists. He's got how many assists does he have now? He's got in games played, he's got 18 assists and 10 goals. Horkoff is really benefiting from having Hayes on the team. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when Hayes eventually leaves the team because I honestly do not see him returning to Michigan next year.
no
And
way.
I'm the
No
Montreal
chance. He's
Canadiens.
gonna play this year. He's gonna play at the end of the.
Absolutely.
He could have played
Absolutely.
this year anyway. That's what they're. No, Mississauga Snake was all over it. How about And the World Junior too. He had the two penalties. Cause he got tripped up, which was a tough call too, by the way. It was crazy. Never seen that in a game. You get two penalty shots, same player, same sequence on the penalty shot. But he is awesome. He looked awesome. I'm proud of him. Just from a professional standpoint, I don't really know many other besides USA guys. Anyone like I really don't know in terms of the European guys. Like my familiarity, I will be
Hamburg,
at least in
Vogt,
personally and professionally.
Mike
But some of the
Washington.
things. No, but anyway, he looked phenomenal, and for Hobie, I mean. I agree with you on that. I mean, it's a long season. I think that depending on how he finish here, you never know what happens. But I think he's got to be the first look, and this we'll see. I'm actually looking forward to seeing what he's going to do for bronze at the time of this recording because and just Team Canada in general. Because a
Yep.
lot of the guys we talked about, especially Porter Martone, Michigan State, like he looked awesome. I thought too for Canada. I had that big tying goal in the third, but like those are the type of those are the players you call on when you're down and they step up. So there's just a lot to talk about. But in terms of Hobey Baker, I mean, I think also Michael Age has another year of experience over Will Horkoff in
That's
both
true.
the
He's
and
older as
so
well.
so I'm not it's taken me years to realize that in junior hockey. Like it took me like 3 or 4 years to realize your birth year matters. At least the way the game's changing,
Unless you're
right?
Macklin celebrating.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, I think the game, at least at my level, it's changed. It's changed at the college level, but you're starting to see those high caliber players that's kind of like a USHL on steroids, right? So I think with everything going on in college hockey, and I know we're talking World Juniors here, so we're kind of back and forth. The Hobey Baker, I think we could just revisit in a little. Give me 4 more weeks because
Halfway through the season right now.
but that's another quarter. I mean, I still want to see like, is there a better player right now in college hockey? Like, I think Hayes has got to be the favorite, but I'm not going to say Will Horkoff. I know that in our prior episode, the goal scoring, right? And I think that's great, but yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you, Rachel. Unfortunately, I know you didn't want me to. The thing is, I disagree with you on like a lot of other things because
I
now
love
I'm
that you
thinking
flip
about
flopped on this.
now we're gonna go to college because now I'm thinking I think Michigan might blow this. I mean, they might blow it.
See
They might.
4-0, and with a lot of their players playing in World Juniors right now, they exhibition match against the USNTDP U18
That should be a
on
breeze.
Saturday, and Puma Perron, Jaden. Well, you say it should be a breeze, but they only won 7-5. I mean, 12 goals in the game is crazy, but to only win by 2 goals against the
Uh,
USNTDP
they
U18.
got it done. They got it done.
Again,
Nice.
our boy Jaden Perron, Puma Perron, that game. Nick Moldenhauer also had a goal in the game, but irrelevant because it doesn't count towards their record. Those goals do not get added to their point totals. But however, backtracking a little bit, I am glad that you mentioned Porter Martone because I gotta say, Canada left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. Something about how they acted this tournament.
Yeah.
Hockey Canada has a whole slew of problems that we are not even going to touch with a 10-foot pole because that is just, whoo, we're not going there. But man, like if I'm the
Yeah.
Flyers and I'm watching my sixth overall pick acting like that, I'm not gonna feel good about it. Like if he's acting this way, firstly, international stage, absolutely international stage against Slovakia, where he obviously grabbed the guy's ass, um, who was not on his team, mind you, just a stranger, just a
Could have been worse.
stranger.
Could have been
um,
worse. Could have been
it could have
worse.
been worse, but also
He's a kid.
so unnecessary. And that just, oh, I did not like that. I really did not like that.
Hmm.
And I don't know if it's just
Well,
the culture and everything, all the mess that is Hockey
I
Canada
mean,
right now.
is this going to be USA versus Canada again?
No,
Because I
no,
mean,
no, no, no.
Dale Hunter's
They're all
actually getting
culture
old really
vibes.
quick. His
Which, and also, we're not even
no,
going to talk about
no,
the freaking
didn't
Olympic
say a word to
rosters.
this guy on the freaking Zoom. He's never. But I mean, you look from an outside, and being with the in the game in the NHL with the individual teams, and I agree with you just on the statement where you said I think there was an attitude. I think there was a not entitlement, but a certain
An entitlement,
certain
though.
yeah, a certain expectation that this team was going to be unbeatable. Like you and me 2 weeks ago, just saying, "Oh, this in the." It was just this very similar thing where we said it was in the bag. It was going to be, and so it's pretty incredible. I think like no, and then you see these kids are still kids. They're crying after the game and tears, and they're college kids. But it's just it also gives you that's where I'll give you a break on Martin. I mean, I think it could have been worse. I think.
Dehumanization of athletes. You forget they're kids.
Unless I don't like the cheap stuff, like at least hitting
Yeah.
or dirty plays for me. But if it's like Marchand-esque stuff, I mean, he's like one of the best players, Brad Marchand. Like, I mean, he like licked
Shouldn't have
guys.
played
He
in the
like
Winter
bit
Classic
guys.
because he was supposed to be suspended.
He,
Oh, yeah. The
he
Ryan
like
Callahan lick face. Yeah, Ryan Callahan did not know how to react to
he like a
that.
back to back. I thought they like he did it like the next game, and then it's like, but he's just, but he always is like, that is a special case, and that is definitely more than a frozen future for Brad Marsh. And he's a Hall of Fame legend, but like he's the guy you don't. And I'm not comparing Porter to Brad. I mean, but it's just, I mean,
Yeah,
listen,
non-comparable.
that's where you say and this day and age, I mean, there's some stuff and like there's some silly stuff, but cut the shenanigans in a sense of, yeah, I agree with you. Get to play in the hockey, just get back to center ice or wherever the draw is and get to the game. I'm really like no drama for me, Rachie. That's all you.
Yeah, I think if it left a bad taste in my mouth, I'm sure it left a bad taste in a lot of the teams' mouths too. And the NHL climate right now is changing. I mean, hockey culture itself is a mess, and there is a lot of things that need to be fixed with it. But it's starting to head in the direction where people tolerate this. And honestly, I expect better from the athletes on an international stage. And, they're young. Of course, they're young. And of course, they get some leeway with that. But at the same time, when I was that age, I was not doing stuff like that. I knew better. And it's kind of to say that they don't know better because they do. They knew exactly what they were doing. But interesting to see, especially them falling to the
Oh, I think we should
wrongs.
maybe if we're gonna add this to our episodes, we should have like a goofy moment or something.
I know it's
It
getting
could
a little too dark here.
no, I mean not like every show. We should have like a goofy. It doesn't mean judge society moment. It means like is this applicable? Because I think the last time I talked to you, there was an incident with the Philadelphia Flyers radio guy, and it goes a little off script. But that's like something where we talk about like, oh, this is a mess and this is a mess. But like that's the world we live in. I'm not saying cancel or not, but it's crazy because we could have like a goofy moment where a player, what did I hear? It wasn't a lick, it wasn't a tail tap or something like that. But the point is, maybe we could just add that and talk about it because it's not like we're judging behavior, but something goofy where, is that acceptable or like I love the Sean Avery rule with with
Being
Marty
such an
Brodeur.
ass that they have
Something
to make a
different.
rule about it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, something like along the lines of, over the top, or are we just being dramatic? Because that could just be
People
a
who
little bit of a plot twist. Just a little
don't
side
know, the Sean Avery rule is basically you're not allowed to wave a stick in a
legendary.
guy's face.
I mean, you could be outside the blue
That
paint, but like it's a pretty creative. Like
I
that's
mean, yeah,
the
that's
avenues I'm
certainly a
looking
way
for.
to defend and distract a goalie.
Scott
I'll
Gomez,
give
that's
him that.
funny. That's where the Chicago Steel head coach. No, it's funny when he talks about him, and it's just there's all sorts of breeds, Rachel. So now simplifying our show because we can motor mouth every direction.
So
I mean,
off track.
are we gonna finish the World Juniors before I talk about potential upset in college hockey? Because I know we're timed, and I
One
think
thing I just want to go back to.
Czech's gonna wrap it up. I mean, I think, but the
Check
Swedes
in with
have
him.
I don't. But you said the Swedes might have an edge though earlier.
I think the difference is that the Swedes, I guess it's kind of true for the Czechs too, but Swedish leagues are high level. Like, and Czechia doesn't mess around with their hockey. When I was in Prague a couple of years ago and I just vaguely mentioned David Pasternak, these guys went into a whole chant about him. They have a whole chant just for David Pasternak, but which is amazing. I wish I recorded that. But Swedish leagues are kind of on a different level. It's almost like playing pro in Sweden, actually being a professional. Um, and again, same same age. obviously all these guys are 20 and under, or sorry, under 20. Stenberg is making a name for himself, and he's really, really making a case to get that number one away from McKenna. But going
I,
back to McKenna a little bit, um, great tournament, 10 points, 6 games. However, his hat trick was against Denmark. And to me, that's not that. I mean, obviously, getting a hat trick is awesome, and in any stage, uh, it's an accomplishment. Against
That's
Denmark.
what I'm saying when I said earlier. But it's like so easy for us to yap about a segment. But I agree with you too on that one. I agree. I agree with most of the stuff you say. But that's where I'm saying, yeah. I mean, again, I think these kids are. Things are totally changed, but they get hyped up. It's funny because the most hyped up one, at least in my neck, was Celebrini, and it's like they're all really good. They're all really good players, and I think the younger, once you get that contract, they're starting to see some of these Gen Z. I mean, they think, oh, I'll just pack it in, and I'm set for life. But they don't. They have kind of those downer years, and I think these kids are so young, especially a guy, Gavin McKenna. It's like,
Just turned 18.
and he's a first year freshman at Penn
Yeah,
State. He's going to be
freshman.
gross. I mean, he's going to be
I mean,
unbelievable.
he's playing. He's
I
having a great season.
I still think. What do you think of Cole Iserman's play in the World Junior?
That moment between him and Cole Hudson, actually. So background here, kind of a weird incident that happened. Cole Hudson, the puck somehow managed to hit him in the back of the head underneath his helmet, which all like seriousness aside, that is actually kind of impressive to do. Like that is such a small area to hit. It's actually amazing that he got hit there because there's so much padding
Yeah.
in the way. But scary moment. Thankfully he's okay. But a really heartfelt moment between the Coles there. Cole Iserman really just hockey aside, his friend was down on the ice and needed help, and everything kind of froze for him in that moment. He went to go help his friend, and that was beautiful to me. Like honestly, that's something that's what hockey's about to me. Not getting hurt, obviously, but like, you know, in the game. I think been really displayed that, and after falling in the draft 2 years ago, he fell down to what, like 18. Guy who was originally projected to be battling with Mac for the number one. He fell all the way down to the mid late first round. Um,
Yeah.
I think USA as a whole left a lot to be desired in this tournament, but I
Hmm.
liked what I saw from Iserman. He kind of showed he's great on an international level. He really is. He's great. High stakes type of tournaments. So I think he's kind of making up for falling in the draft because he fell in the draft because he had like an injury. Like it was a tough season for him. It wasn't a very straightforward season for him. Progress is not always linear, and that was
Uh-huh.
shown with Iserman. And right now he's getting back on track. He's showing this is why a couple of years ago I was battling for the number one. I fell. Shit happens. That's all I can say. I really wanted to avoid cursing, but I couldn't. Things like that happen. Nothing you could do about it. Like what you said, they get the contract or get drafted and they're like, all right, I did what I needed to do. But Cole saw that. He saw he fell in the draft and he said, I need to put in the work. I need to prove to everyone what I had proved to them a couple of years ago and had lost. So I liked what I saw from him. But again, to be desired with Team USA. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. We can
it's
move forward with them as a whole. I mean, Cole's a good player too. Don't sleep on him. But Lane is the best Hudson easily, I think, for that I've seen play. There's still another one at Muskegon right
snubbed for
now.
the Olympic roster.
Lars, like it doesn't end. I thought there'd be enough Hudsons. There's
Oh
four.
my God,
There's
there's
four.
so many.
Lars, yeah, Lars
And they
is
all
in.
look the same.
They're all little and they're all. I mean, it's crazy, but it's Lane has been the. He's just, again. Don't sleep on Cole, but it's like, yeah, he was. I'm not surprised USA didn't take it, but I think Cole, it's going to be interesting what he does in a professional career. Like, I think he could be a huge pure goal scorer for years to come. But if you, yeah, you got the defense first is the new motto. I mean, strong, smart, and whatever the third S is. I always forget it, but it's usually just like no.
Simple.
Nowadays, you got to be too vanilla, but. Just gotta play off the puck defensively, Rach. You gotta play off the puck. Like it's not like that's where Cole is hurting right now. I think 5 or 7 years ago he would have been, I don't know, but now it's as the game evolves, it's just crazy. You're starting to see these bigger guys that are more filled out with bigger size now that can skate. Skate is probably my third S. Skate, smart,
Yep.
strong. Boom. Okay.
Boom. There it is. Yeah,
All
I
right.
mean, right. I agree with you completely. And it's like you look at the NHL right now, and you look at the fact that Connor Bedard was left off of the Team Canada roster. All these people are like, why was he left off?
No 6-7.
Well, he doesn't play a
No.
full 200-foot game. He's not a
Pure
two-way
skill. He would have
player.
been Chicago Steel legend, probably. I mean, anyway. That
Yeah,
guy would
right. The
probably put up.
Chicago,
I don't want to mention them too much,
those
but it's like
forwards
pure
on the
skill,
Chicago.
pure skill. Just pure little. It's like no, I'm a guy who's like, yeah, he's unreal, but I think injuries and stuff with, like, you got to give it to celebrate. I mean, he's been healthier
Would have
too,
picked
so it's
him
like
every single day of the week
he's not
over Bedard
healthy. I
anyway.
think, I think, like in a
Well,
sense,
according to the GM, his health had absolutely nothing to do with their decision, which honestly, I buy it.
it's a
Because
good problem
again,
to have. I mean, that's a pretty good
well,
problem to
yeah,
have.
good problem to have. You have enough offense, but well, okay, there's a couple of things with the Team Canada that's kind of weird to me. But again, the NHL is getting to a point where you can't
Yeah, that's
just
so
be a goal
politically.
scorer. You have to be able to do other things. Like it's not enough
Yeah, it's
to
kind
just
of
score
boring to be
goals.
honest.
And again, you look at Macklin
But
Celebrini. Yeah, it is boring. Like that's one of
you
my
have to.
favorite things about Mac. He is a
Yeah,
superstar player that back checks. You don't get that very often, but I think that the landscape that the NHL is going in, you need to be able to do that. You need to be strong off the puck. You need to be strong on the puck too. Not even just
yeah,
like, having good stick
yeah.
handling and good skating ability. You need to be able to bounce people off of you. Big problem that big boy Matt Rempe had on the Rangers when he first came into the NHL. This
Oh,
gigantic
legend.
behemoth of a man at 6'8". It's
He's
crazy fast for a guy that big.
He's awesome though. I still love him.
Getting knocked over so easily. And
Yeah,
again,
because
not
yeah.
enough to just be big. It's not enough
Hmm.
to make plays. You have to be strong in every single asset. And we're seeing some interesting players right now. We got the Plant brothers who they're so fun to watch. Max again only had one goal in the tournament, but he did only play 3 games, so I'll
That's the
give him
thing.
that.
Yeah, with USA, I know. Yeah, no, there's a small sample size.
Yeah, again, yeah, you're right. It's a tournament that only has 6, 7 games in it, so
Hmm.
it is hard to kind of gauge from it, especially because these guys, Team Canada wasn't even in their locker room, wasn't even in the rink. Playing with their normal teams. They're not playing with their normal units and lines. So it's kind of a weird situation. Not that these guys
It's,
haven't played
it's
together before, but like it's kind of a lot to just suddenly snap into a new formation and play a different kind of hockey than what you've been playing for the rest of the whole season.
that's probably one of the questions that we probably have to ask because yeah, I think you're right. Like you only have what, 4 weeks or 6 weeks. Like it's not like you just. I think it's one of those things with the momentum too, where that's what makes it exciting because it's not you don't have that time and as you mentioned just chemistry to because they were even talking about in the TSN wrap up with Canada. It's like you can talk about the coulda, shouldas, all that stuff. It is. I think it's really challenging, in terms of line combinations. Like they said, these two work together, but it was like as soon as this guy went down, like Brady Martin, a guy like, how do you fill that void? And it's like somebody's got to
Right.
step up, right? And that's where you kind of look, and you could just say, hey, I could point the finger at everybody there. But no, I agree. That's where I think with Max too, he's just a hell of a player, and that family and the farm animal family. I know Zam was the first one to. I'd say maybe like Max could be a hog. I don't know if Zam's more of a pig and
It
his
is
little
not
brother's
the
a
same
baby pig.
thing.
Yeah, they're not. No, but they're farm animals, so they're
Look at
all
that. I'm learning something new every day.
they're all in the trough together. So I think that we'll find out. I think he was one of the best players on that team, like in terms of just the NCDP, in terms of college hockey. Isn't he second in scoring in college hockey?
Right.
Last
And
I
he was
checked at the moment.
all over the ice
Yeah,
in World
30. He's
Juniors.
got, I mean, in terms of point per game, he's buck and a half. I think Zammer's a point 1.25. I'm double checking it.
What, fifth?
Points, I mean, Max is at 30, so he's in the
They played
top. He's
what,
tied for
20
third.
games?
And I don't even Bennett Schmeek on Arizona State is a junior, has 31 points.
It's a
Wow.
fun little
Don't
team.
yeah,
But we can reserve a whole episode just for Arizona State. But I feel
yeah,
like we have
Cruz,
spent
Lucius,
time talking about Michigan guys.
Cruz and
And it
Chaz,
kills me.
Lucius.
It Chaz Lucius, dude, was a monster in the USHL.
I think
But
Chaz Lucius. Yeah,
you
he was,
know,
he
you
was really
mentioned
good.
momentum going into World Juniors, but you're also going to get momentum coming out of it too. And when you look at a guy like Cage, who had 11 points in 6 games, you might think he's going to come out
They're
like
gonna
a monster
Ivan
in his
Kovic
first
too.
game back.
I
Exactly. Ivan
mean,
Kovic, they saved him for
they have a
Latvia.
chip on their shoulder. I feel like that's what scares me about Michigan
The
too.
chip
Like
on the
that's,
shoulder. Exactly.
but
Especially with you have the both Canada and USA guys with chips on their shoulders now. So
I
you got
think that
Horkoff and
yeah.
Hage. And those two guys, you don't want them to have chips on their shoulders because they're gonna make your life a living hell if you play them.
And my boy Horkoff, but I'd say, I don't. It's interesting. You look at UMD, right? I think that they're probably the biggest challenger to Michigan. They do have the goaltending. I mean, Adam
They
Guyon
do.
is. Am I a sole believer on him? No, but I mean that's what goalies are. They're talk about non-linear. They're all over the map
All over it.
usually. But
It's hard to judge goaltending sometimes.
he's playing pretty well though. I mean, if he can keep it up, you never know. You never know. I mean, Michigan. It wouldn't necessarily shock me if they went down. I think it takes just maybe even a veteran, team like Michigan State, like a team that's sort of older guys, but more of just a team that has the goaltending and the defense. And I think right now with Duluth that you have that goal scoring and you got the Plants Bros, and it's a really good story. But can they defend that enough? Do they have enough depth?
As much
Does
as it
Minnesota
kills
kids?
me to kind of hype up Michigan because I really, really hate doing that as a former Minnesota Gopher, which we are not going to talk about them because they are going to make me mad if we try to talk about them. The whole like this past exhibition game, it showed they have the depth. They do. Guys, two top guys, Horkoff and Hage. World Juniors right now. They didn't play in that game and they won 7-5. You got Adam Valentini, who's only 17 years old. He's been playing unbelievably. He's got 17 points in 20 games. Malcolm Spence has been playing pretty well. 20 games played, 12 points. You know, they've got guys contributing in all forms, and that's what makes Michigan scary to me because you don't
Yeah,
know where the
depth.
goals are going to be
Yes.
coming from. You cannot predict. I mean, like you kind of can't, obviously. Like they're Hage, you can predict will quarterback a play and get at least a point on it. Like whether he gets the primary assist or a goal, he's going to get some kind of point. But again, they're contributing from all and that makes a really good team. And that's what's really scary about Michigan. But I do think you are right. I think UMD might be the people that have their number. I mean, Michigan's 16-4-0 and UMD's only 14-6-0. So not that different of a record. And it wasn't that long ago that UMD had back to back Frozen Four championships. Or at least to me, it wasn't that long ago. It was like 9 years ago, I guess.
Do
Maybe
you,
nine,
do
eight.
you think like their strength of schedule or anything like that? Like I feel like I do want to feel like it is in the bag. I mean, you're playing like St. Cloud State and Western, you
I
know,
mean,
Michigan,
so I would
Colorado. I
say
mean, these schools are, they're almost like a mid.
scheduling
They're so
has
mid.
been more like I would make that argument more for like Penn State with scheduling.
I
They
get
haven't
that because
had a particularly hard compared to other NCAA teams. Um, Also, Michigan State's always going to be on University of Michigan's tail. Again, Porter Martone, guys, been having a hell of a
yeah,
season. They have some really great
or
individual players. You know,
that's what
it's
I'm saying with UMD though. More, I'm like, I mean, they're playing like St. Cloud State and
right.
University of Fairbanks, Alaska. I'm not taking any away from these young men, but it's like, I don't really. I think that yeah, that's where Michigan's going to be locked and loaded. But all it takes is one
Just takes
game.
one
That's
goal.
really it. It takes one moment. It takes one thing. So I think like if you, for me, it always starts with your goaltending if you have that. But again, it's that chip. That's where I'm curious to see this bronze medal game because I want to see as a scout would want to see how do these guys react when they're feeling like crap, when they're down, when they're out. Like they wanted that gold or bust. Like that's and so if they're just not even playing for a medal like that, for me, I want to see who's playing because I know Ivan Kovic came in that last game in the semis and was really good. Of course he was. He's been great for Michigan the entire time. That's where Hockey Canada gets carried away with everything. And anyway, that's irrelevant as well. But no, we'll see. And I think that not, I think this has shown us though. First of all, nothing we say is
Right. What do we
is going
know?
to be a prediction setter. Second of all, the game's beautiful, and you just never know what you're going to get. So I can't sit here and say, oh yeah, Michigan. Even though I'm like an 85, I'm at like an 85 over 15 in a sense of yes, they're going to win it. This is the year. Like I thought that 5 or 6 years ago when they had all those steel guys, back before, I mean before 2020 draft and they ended up losing, I think, kind of early or in the last four or frozen. I think it was the last eight. I can't remember, but I'm like, man, this is really hard to win. It's just like, so we'll see, Rachie.
See, I like that you put a lot of importance on goaltending, but I want to share this one quote with you that I saw the other day that said, "As a goalie, not your circus. Defensemen sure are your monkeys." And the defenseman can make all of the difference when it comes to a goalie. You know, I was a former defenseman. I can't even imagine being a goalie where there's like a million guys right in front of the shooting lane and somehow the puck still gets through. You're going to be like, what the hell, guys? Like, you guys were supposed to stop that. How did this happen? So, what the difference is going to be, what gives Michigan versus Michigan State versus University of Minnesota Duluth the edge? Because I think they've all got really good players on their rosters, and I think it's going to be, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Frozen Four consisted of three of those teams.
Well, no, I agree. I like that. I mean, I like the circus part, but I think whoever I want to get a quote. Which goalie said that? I mean,
It
I'd
was
say
just some
stop the
like
puck,
guy.
pal. I'd say you can stop. Okay. Well, see, I think goalie they're an interesting breed, and this isn't I love the clock here. It's a good timer because this isn't baseball, but it's similar with pitchers. They have they get all tweaky and dialed in when they're ready to start, but you got to also take it easy. And so I think any easygoing goalie would say I can stop the puck wherever, but I agree that you definitely have to have guys that are going to be boxing out, getting pucks atop the blue paint, just being able to. I am not going to say get pucks with the D word, but there is a term. Like you can't just get the puck to the red line. Like you can't just get it to their blue line. Like you got to get that puck deep. And
No
it's
lazy hockey.
gotta. You're
No
not going to
dump
take
and chase.
your teammates' trash. You're not going to quote like take your teammates' trash out for them. And you're left with what? Like what? A turnover most likely or you're going to make the wrong play. So, and that's where college hockey is the structure is yeah, we're trying to eliminate all those pathways through the middle. And so I think that that's where, again, Michigan's dangerous with that offensive depth. and you say, I they got Ivan Kovic over Guyon. You could already say that, okay, defensively, um, we could go there when we go there. I said, give me a month. I'd like to see how these guys kind of finish, uh, because it is their tournament to lose. But yeah, having said that, again, I think Jack Ivan Kovic, that's the deal breaker for me at the moment. But I'm not going to officially, after the last 4 weeks with you and me, Rachel, I'm not going to officially buy into Michigan, even though everything in my gut is saying Michigan's going to, I mean, they're going to take it. I think maybe, I'm just curious about who is going to be that dark horse.
As much as it kills me, oh, messed that one up. As much as it kills me, I do think I'm going with Michigan on this one, unless something catastrophic happens in the next few weeks. But something in the water in Michigan, but perhaps there's something in the water at University of Minnesota Duluth too. So it's anyone's game, I guess. But to me, I think Michigan's got the edge. But we'll see how people come off of World Juniors. It could make all the difference. So this has been Frozen Futures. Thanks for listening. And hopefully we have more to debate next week coming off of this gold medal and bronze game. It'll be interesting.